Hello and welcome back to Quantum Suicide. On the last episode Nicholas taught us some medical some medical knowledge, and we lost, so this is our execution. What a perfect place to start. But it's a starting nonetheless.
Oh, watch your step. Wouldn't want to fall and hurt yourself, would you?
I smiled wickedly in my direction as I stepped into Yoshiki's room, and the door was closed behind me. Through the window in the door, I could see the crew looking on and hear them through the intercom system.
I'm so sorry.
Yoshiki's voice was no longer holding back. I could hear him sob as he struggled to speak. Officer Sasuke's quarters locked. I heard the captain attempting to console him as she began to speak.
You have been a positive contribution to this ship and its crew, and I thank you for your service.
No problem. I felt a smile crawl across my face at her words. Oxygen levels decreasing. I thought to myself, I guess I will get to see you sooner than later. Mum and Dad. Mum and Dad, I'm just sorry that I couldn't finish your work. I hope you can forgive me.
They love you. Please tell my parents I will be there shortly.
That's unfortunate. You don't do that.
Yoshiki! You are not dying, you hear me?
I agree with the captain. I could no longer speak. Breathing was difficult, and I could breathe in, but it felt like nothing was there. Like I was breathing in nothing. Because you're breathing in nothing, it's how oxygen works. I tried not to panic, but my body had other ideas. I began grasping to each breath, hoping to get any oxygen. My chest felt painfully tight, like it was being compressed from the outside. I looked up and saw the captain at the door and reached for her before losing consciousness. You have died. Okay, timeline. Okay, we have to try and get to the bidding war, and I guess lose, but not be the only person to die.
Congratulations, Team B. After 3 rounds, you have come out victorious.
So we might be there then.
And that means, and the lucky winner of the wheel is Yoshiki!
Oh no, that's not what we want. Even though it's what we want because we want all the endings, but it's not what we want.
Alright, well, let's get to it. But first, just let me take the time to really congratulate all of our winners and our losers. Isn't teamwork just the greatest?
Not necessarily, no.
Now the fun part.
Diab projected her execution wheel and excitedly spun it.
Let's see, what do we have today?
Tick, tick, tick.
Congratulations, Yoshiki. You have won electrocution.
I guess that's fitting by by his profession.
Well, I guess it's a fitting way for me to die.
At least he agrees. What, how so?
Yoshiki's father accidentally electrocuted himself to death.
I just thought it was because I'm an engineer.
You could say it's something of a family specialty.
That's a pretty strange family specialty. Shugi laughed half-heartedly at my poor attempt to lighten the mood.
Yeah, my family is pretty strange.
All right, I've surveyed the ship, and the best place to get electrocuted is the engineering bay. No surprise there.
Yeah, makes sense.
You all know the drill. Let's move it.
We started making our way towards the engineering bay. Yoshiki walked between me and the captain, chatting along the way as if it were any other day.
Kimmy, do you think there's an afterlife?
What do you think, Yoshiki?
I think there might be.
I'm sure there is. And I'm sure your parents are waiting for you.
You really think so?
Of course I do. I'm just jealous they'll get to have you all to themselves.
Kind words. The captain's eyes started to well up with tears, but she fought them back.
Well, don't worry, Kimmy. At this rate, I might see you next week.
Ooh, harsh. Yoshiki grinned playfully at the captain.
I'll be sure to clean up before you arrive. I can't have you scolding me in the afterlife, too.
We'll see.
At that point, we arrived at the engineering bay, where we found Dai standing in front of the door, in front of a fuse box, looking quite pleased with herself.
All right, Yoshiki, if you would step this way, open this box, and, grab onto some of the live wires, that would be awesome.
This isn't my first electrocution, Dai. I know how to kill myself.
That's a sentence. That's not a good sentence, but it's a sentence.
Oh, well. Sorry for trying to be helpful.
Well, this appears to be my stop.
That's an unfortunate part, but everyone's got to go in this story at one point. I'm sorry, BFF. I'm going to miss you.
I'm going to miss you, too. Could you do me a favor while I'm gone?
I can try. Name it.
Would you check in on Kimiko every once in a while?
Someone's got to. You got it, Yoshiki.
She especially likes it if you're late all the time.
Uh-huh. I'll try my best. Yoshiki said his goodbyes to everyone before hugging the captain, who began to cry despite her best efforts.
Kimmy, sis, I love you. And I always will.
I love you too, Yoshiki. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. I'm so sorry.
What did I say about crying?
The captain sniffled before pulling away from the hug to salute Yoshiki.
Officer Sasaki, thank you for your contributions to the Everett. You have been relieved of your duties.
The crew all saluted Yoshiki, who seemed embarrassed by all the tension. Dai cleared her throat and made a wrap-it-up gesture with her right hand.
Yeah, I'm coming. Oh, I almost forgot. There's a present for you on my bed.
What? Yoshiki just smiled and grabbed onto the exposed wires in the fuse box. His body jolted violently as thousands of volts ran through his body. The hairs on my head tingled as electricity filled the air. Its cacophonous crackle permeated the room, harsh to the ears. I held on to the captain, who looked as if she was moments away from reaching out and grabbing Yoshiki's twisted form. The last thing we needed right now were more unnecessary deaths. After a few moments, Dai cut the power to the fuse box, and Yoshiki's burnt, lifeless body slumped to the ground.
Job well done, Dai. He's definitely dead.
And the world got a lot gloomier. Dai gave herself a small pat on the back. As soon as the electricity stopped, I let go of the captain, who was immediately on the ground with Yoshiki. She was propping him up in her lap, attempting to get any response.
Yoshiki? Yoshiki?
Is she gonna kill everyone now? Nicholas knelt down and checked Yoshiki's vitals. He raised his head to meet the captain's eyes.
I'm sorry, Captain.
The captain broke down in tears, hugging Yoshiki so tightly that her cries were muffled by his lifeless body. Captain,
Leave her be.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. I stepped away from the captain and stood back with the rest of the crew.
We all have places to be. Let's get out of here and allow the captain to grieve in peace.
Melody nuzzles into Beatrix's neck. And she turned on her heels and followed Nicholas out of the engineering bay. It wasn't too long before the others followed suit. I stood a moment longer, watching the captain continue to cry into Yoshiki's chest, unable to bear it any longer. I finally turned and left. Oop, what's happening? He's not responding, that's what's happening. Oh no. Chapter 3. I couldn't help but feel guilty about Yoshiki's death. He was my best friend, and I let him down. I attempted to sleep, tossing and turning in my bed, but unfortunately, sleep avoided me. I wonder what time it is. It's probably time to get the present. I leaned over to the bedside table and grabbed my tablet. It's only... it was 4:26 a.m. Frustrated, I shut my eyes again. Sleep, damn it. I sighed and pulled myself out of bed. I headed to the Echo Lounge, one of Yoshiki's favourite places. Regardless of it being so early in the morning, the Echo Lounge looked as beautiful as it always does. After all, there is no sunrise in space, so nothing has changed. I sat down on the grassy hill and looked out at the stars. Let's talk to Yoshiki. Yoshiki, I know you probably can't hear me. After all, there's no scientific basis for the persistence of a spirit after death, but let's let it slide for now. I'm sorry, Yoshiki. I hung my head. The name stuck in my throat. I was the team captain. I should have done more to protect you. It hasn't even been 12 hours, and I can feel the hole you left in the ship, in the crew, and I'm going to miss you, buddy. I just wish that I could be as strong and cheerful as you were, even when your friends died.
You can be. Just try harder, bestie.
Well, it says Nicholas, but that definitely sounded like Yoshiki. Yoshiki? Giggling, Nicholas revealed himself from behind a tree. Okay, so...
Sorry to disappoint you, but it is only me.
That's a cool trick. That was low, Nicholas.
I saw the opportunity, and I just had to take it. Besides, humor is one of the best coping strategies in the face of grief.
No? I mean, I know you're a medical professional, but I don't think it is, personally. I'm not laughing.
You may not be, but what do you think Yoshiki would have wanted?
He would have wanted us to laugh, I guess. I thought back to all the time I had with Yoshiki, how cheerful and happy it always was. I didn't think he would want me to stop laughing either. I forced myself to laugh. Ha 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 ha. Nicholas was bemused by my reaction.
Apparently I broke you. Luckily for me, in space they cannot revoke my medical license.
Okay, that's a good... That was a funny, sentence. It's, what you gonna do now, sort of, sentence. Do you even have one?
No, which is probably why I broke you.
Touché. We both paused for a moment before bursting into laughter. So what are you doing here?
After last night's execution, I asked Ai to alert me if anyone was not sleeping well.
How many people besides me? That's very professional of you, Dr. Vogel.
I'll let you in on a little secret.
He's not a doctor. I leaned closer and to hear a secret.
Ai informed me that it was not only you that got out of bed, it was Shizuka also.
Okay. Okay.
But I only checked up on you.
Why? Is Shizuka going to Katashi, sorry. Why is that?
I would much rather spend time with you.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. I choked. I cocked my eyebrow. His answer didn't sound 100% honest. Oh?
Okay, well, Shizuka is also a very difficult patient, and I would rather not deal with her this early in the morning.
Okay, fair enough. I looked at Nicholas for a moment before breaking into hysterical laughter. I had no idea you were such a fearful... I didn't know you were so fearful... I had no idea you were fearful... so fearful of Shizuka.
I am not fearful. I simply prefer my social interaction to be as free of awkwardness as possible.
Okay, why is it awkward? You're full of surprises, Nicholas. Nicholas smiled at me, but his eyes betrayed the slight embarrassment.
Regardless of my fear of particular persons, how are you feeling?
Rather devastated, really. Yoshiki is gone. Yeah. Yoshiki was my best
I
friend.
understand.
And even though we had only known each other for a few weeks, it felt like I'd known him my whole life.
Some people simply have special connections.
Yeah. I looked up at the starry abyss above the outside the Eco Lounge.
There is a theory.
I turned to face Nicholas in interest. A theory.
When I was younger, my mother used to tell me about a doctor named McDougal who lived a long time ago.
I wasn't sure where Nicholas was going with this, but he appeared engrossed in his own story.
He set out to prove that the human soul exists, and that when we die, it is released from the body.
Are you telling me a medical scientist? We're not the medical scientist, you're the medical scientist. That souls exist. Nicholas shot me a dismissive side glance before continuing.
He weighed the bodies of 5 people, 4 men and 1 woman, immediately before and after their deaths. After each of them passed, they lost weight. That weight averaged 21 grams.
Isn't that just the gas leaving the body? I'm unsure why you're telling me this.
The human soul may possibly exist, and if it does, it weighs an average of 21 grams.
Pretty sure it's just gas in the human body. And?
Well, if the human soul exists, then perhaps our last goodbye to Yoshiki was not the last one after all.
We don't need ghost stories in this death game, Nicholas. It was only now that I realized Nicholas was trying to cheer me up. Nicholas stared at the starry sky, his eyes glinting at the possibility.
We know next to nothing about the human soul, but perhaps there is the possibility of, once again, meeting those we have lost.
That's incredibly romantic of you, Nicholas.
There is a reason why so much of humanity grasps at religion. Sometimes hope is all we have.
I sat silently beside Nicholas as his words sank in. Thank you for coming to check and checking up on me, Nicholas. I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. Your company is worth the early rise.
Even in the face of our dire situation, Nicholas could still turn on the charm. Well, I think I'll head back to my quarters and try to get more sleep.
That is a very good idea.
What about Yoshiki's present? Good night, Nicholas.
Good morning.
It's in the morning. Nicholas would make a good father one day with those lame dad jokes. I made my way back to my quarters. As my head hit the pillow, I let out a light sigh. Speaking with Nicholas was exactly what I needed.
Hey! Hey!
What? What do you want? I opened my eyes to see Di standing next to my bed.
Earth 2.
What about Earth 3? Di stopped in her tracks and began talking to herself.
Wait. Maybe invoking Earth's name is a bit insensitive. Given how the human race destroyed the planet, it might open old wounds.
It's your own fault.
What are my other options, though? Other planets don't sound right. Mars 2? Jupiter 2?
Why not say the Everett? Well, that's the ship's name. Di,
Yes?
what's happening and why are you here?
Well, it's nice to see you, too. Sheesh.
What? Di gave a scathing look, highly unimpressed by the reception.
I've summoned the crew for the next game explanation. They're all in the dining hall.
Am I late?
Late is an understatement. You didn't even wake up to my previous announcements over the ship's PA system.
What time is it? Oh, I'm so sorry. I haven't been sleeping well. Di turned her head at her best disingenuous voice.
Don't worry, I get it. All your friends are dying, and you probably will too soon.
Thanks, that's helping. A piece of advice. Shoot. Di leaned in closer and to me and whispered in my ear. You'll have plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. Yeah, it's true.
Until then, dining hall, now.
Di dissipated. I jumped out of bed and ran quickly into the dining hall. I didn't want the crew to be punished for my lateness. Clearly, Di was not impressed. I made my way to the dining hall very short of breath. Everyone was sitting around the dining hall table, awaiting my arrival. I'm so starved.
Where are your clothes?
What? Looked down and saw that the captain was right. I was wearing a singlet and my boxer shorts. Really?
Monkey, you have to wear your clothes. It's a rule.
I'm so sorry. I just ran.
Well, now we all get to see what kind of man you really are.
I mean, Beatrix, weren't we in a coma? Why is she surprised? Beatrix smirked playfully while nudging Shizuka to her right. Shizuka was sitting with her hand clasped tightly over her eyes. Her cheeks were bright red. I'll just go back and...
I don't think so, mister.
Cool, now we're stuck like this. Dai appeared in front of me, running like a maniac. You're already late. I won't allow you to keep me waiting any longer. I tried to awkwardly cover myself, sorry.
Don't be ashamed, rookie. That's quite the impressive body you have there.
Thank you, Katashi, but still would rather not be in this situation. Thank you. Katashi smiled playfully as I sheepishly took a seat next to Nicholas. We're all adults here. Let's behave as such.
I'm not an adult. I'm 5.
Melody, you are an honorary adult because you are so mature.
Hooray! Melody smiled proudly at Nicholas before turning to the captain for affirmation.
He's right. You are an honorary adult now.
That's gonna bite us, I think.
This makes me feel so much better.
What does?
If she's an adult, she doesn't have to feel guilty about killing a child.
I remember you being adamant that Melody couldn't play my games because she was a child. But now, problem solved.
Yep, you kinda it bit us.
You know very well that...
Melody, want to have your first adult drink with Dai?
Can I?
No.
No.
Captain tried to interfere, but Dai spoke straight over the top of her.
Can you? Of course. You're an adult now. You don't have to listen to anyone anymore.
I mean, not true. Even adults have to do that. Melody's face lit up.
Even you?
Dai was taken aback momentarily by the response, because before nonchalantly addressing the rest of the crew.
Kids say the darndest things, eh?
You just got outsmarted by a child. Dai turned her attention back to Melody, who was sitting, awaiting an answer.
You don't have to do what I say ever. You're free to make your own choices.
Never mind, you spun it back. Well done, Dai.
Really?
Yup. And I'm free to murder you when you disobey me.
But that's not fair.
Yep, it's not fair.
That's life, kiddo. You're free to choose everything, but the consequences.
What if two actions had consequences? Then you'd be choosing which consequence you'd rather suffer through. Melody sat quietly, pouting in a chair.
Excellent. Now that I've dished out some life lessons, let's get to the fun part.
Is it going to be a game we know or not? I don't think it is. Vampire Children, it is. So this time, I'm skipping this.
Vampire Children is played over 3 cycles. One person will be chosen at random by me and be made the vampire. I'll tell this person in secret, and the 6 other people are humans. No one will know for sure who is a vampire and who is a human, other than themselves. During each cycle, you have the choice to either mate with another person or not. It's not compulsory, but definitely advisable. However, you can't mate with the same person twice, even during different cycles. Where's the fun in that, right?
No comment, I think.
Every time 2 humans mate, 2 children are born. When 1 human and 1 vampire mate, no children are born. But that human becomes a vampire for life, and for point's sake, a vampire child. If 2 vampires mate, nothing happens except a good time.
Still no comment, I guess.
Only the original vampire will know that they're a vampire. Humans who unknowingly mate with a vampire won't know until the end of the game. After each cycle, I will announce the total count, human babies produced, and new vampires created. After 3 cycles, the human and vampire children counts will be tallied. If there are more vampire children than humans, the human that created the fewest human babies will be executed.
Okay.
If more human babies exist, the starting vampire will be executed. Now, 1 versus 6 can seem lonely, so here's my offer to the soon-to-be vampire.
I'm again. Is it going to be Beatrix? I think it's going to be Nicholas this time, because first it was Beatrix who was helping us. Now it's Nicholas is helping us.
The vampire can choose a Bonnie to their Clyde. This person will knowingly and willingly become a vampire in the first round and will win and lose alongside the vampire. If the vampire wins, so do they, and so they are spared from death. But if the vampire loses, so does that person, and we have a double execution. Be careful though, your Bonnie and Clyde dreams may be short-lived, and your partner might out you as the vampire. So, tell others at your own risk. I will notify you of your human or vampire status sometime before the game begins on Sunday morning.
Okay.
This is my favorite game to date.
We haven't even had a chance to play it yet.
Any questions? Need me to repeat?
No, we're good.
Excellent.
Di suddenly zapped out of the room, and the broadcast opened overhead, where we could all hear Di using her upbeat customer service voice.
We understand that you have a choice in Deletion Game Carrier, and want to thank you all so much for choosing the Di Deletion Game service. We murder for your satisfaction, and we look forward to servicing you again this Sunday.
Since this is the same game, is it skippable text? It is not. Okay. It is still not okay. I couldn't get settled through the night. I kept looking at the clock. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It was about 4 a.m. when I heard a knock at the door of my quarters.
Are you awake?
Unfortunately, well, if I was, I'm not anymore. Do you mean if I was asleep?
With that being the case, I had best let myself in.
My quarters door opened to reveal a very lively Nicholas. Looking at him, no one could tell that it was about 4 a.m. I sat up and as he made his way over to my bed. 4 a.m., huh? And what do I owe the pleasure?
I wish this visit was out of self-interest. In truth, I came to ask you a favor.
You are the vampire, right? A favor at 4 a.m. or Nicholas? I thought you would never ask. I winked at Nicholas, to which he responded awkwardly and kind.
I wine and dine my dates first, thank you very much.
At least he got the joke. I laughed as Nicholas continued.
The captain is fretting over the black hole situation.
Oh, Ken, never mind. I'm jumping the gun. Yes, the black hole. So are you unable to console her?
I am only a medical doctor and an amazing pianist. Thus, my attempts at comforting are of very little help in this matter.
I'm neither of those things, but I'm also just as useless. Don't worry, Nicholas. I couldn't help but chuckle at Nicholas's false modesty.
You, however, are a scientist, and because of that, your comforting words will carry more weight.
How? So you want me to cheer up the captain in regards to the slow and inevitable death. So it's Nicholas getting us this time instead of I. Interesting. We'll see how it changes next time. Hopefully you've had fun, because I know I have. With that, goodbye.